Yo, welcome everybody. Today's gonna be a potpourri where I'm just probably gonna talk about a lot of different subjects. Um, it's just a potpourri of subjects that are gonna be floating around out there. One of whom I just found out about was about this Nikki Bella divorce settlement, which sounds crazy. And I listened to like the first 10 seconds of a video and was like, yeah, I need to talk about this. I got to get on cam about this. But I botched it. It was supposed to be a Q&A. It's going to end up being next week. So get ready to put your questions into the queue for next week. And we're going to play some random clips, I guess, from a lot of different subjects. I want to nudge on the Karrion Kross interview with Ariel Helwani. Um, the idea that WrestleMania is about to move, venues. I mean, not even venues, man, just whole cities, bruh. Like, it seems pretty crazy to me that they're doing that. So let's start. I was trying to find the Kenny Omega Miyu Yamashita stuff. Um, because I wanted to talk about this too. I guess I could do that without looking at the video. I wanted to play the audio of him talking about it because the audio of him talking about it is interesting to me. Uh, this is what I get for not preparing. But every time I do a live stream or a video of any kind, usually I'm just got off the treadmill. So I guess we'll have to talk about it later when I find it. But what up, Gozu? We gonna get into this divorce settlement thing real quick because it's kind of the title of the video. So we're gonna. Oh yeah, we got to get into Meltzer and Brian Alvarez talking about. Oh yeah, I got that video all queued up already. So I got a couple of videos already queued up, couple of subjects already queued up. All right, let's get into Nikki Bella. Let's see what we got here.
The divorce has nothing to do with what happened, the incident, any of that. Divorce is divorce. Divorce has to deal with paper, the contract you signed during marriage.
Oh, wait a second. It absolutely does have something to do with the incident. The incident likely would not have happened if y'all was happy. Now, the incident, for people who don't know, was a domestic violence accusation that was lobbied at her husband at the time. I don't remember the details of it, but I do remember the entire internet being on her side, and then more information came out and then it vanished. So I need to look this up. But yeah, it absolutely has something to do with the incident. Yeah, that's absolutely an important bit. Let's talk about let's get into this. I definitely needed to prepare more, but actually it's kind of good because I get to think things through. Nikki Bella, domestic obesity. I didn't put that in there. So it came out that he was not the primary aggressor, and even though he was the one that was arrested. So in People magazine, very at the September 25th, 2024, it says Artem Chig Vintsev was not the primary aggressor in domestic violence incident with Nikki Garcia, claims lawyer. Claims his lawyer or her lawyer. I don't know which one, it don't matter. Artem is speaking out for the first time after his arrest on suspicion of domestic violence. In a lengthy statement to People on Wednesday, September 25th, Artem revealed how he's been doing after it was announced he would not be facing criminal charges for his arrest on suspicion of domestic violence on August 29th. He says, I am incredibly relieved and grateful that the domestic violence charges against me have been dropped. This has been an extremely difficult time for me. I am thankful that the truth has prevailed. My focus has always been and always will be our son Mateo. He is my world, and being his father is the greatest blessing in my life. All along, my main concern has been for him. I am committed to continuing to provide him with love, support, and care he needs as we move forward. I am hopeful that securing an equal custody arrangement will help us move on. I want to express my deepest gratitude to my family, friends, and legal team for standing by me during this challenging time. Your support has been invaluable, and I am thankful to everyone who believed in me and saw the truth for what it was. I look forward to moving past this chapter and focusing on what matters. Continue being the best father that I can be. I'm not going to go continuing with this, but they also they put out a feeler to Nikki Bella, and she didn't respond to requests for comment. But he was not the primary aggressor. That's the top spot here. That was September the 25th. Now we go back like a week or two, when she filed for divorce on September 11th. So there, Perez Hilton said she lied about the domestic violence. I'm not going into the Perez Hilton thing. I'm not doing that. That's a little low for me. But she was given a restraining order in October of 2024. Um, Brie Bella attacked this guy. This is a very, very interesting, very interesting situation here. But why was the charges dropped, do you think? Why were the charges dropped? Why were the charges dropped? Let's go to CNN, then we're going to go back to the video. So it says, Bella filed the petition on Wednesday. They didn't say Wednesday, what's the date, but it's September the 11th. They were married for 2 years. Artem refused comment. Their son is 4. Oh, they had a son before they were married. Living in sin. Can't talk about that. But there is no reason. They don't say why the charges were dropped. But it'd be very suspicious. Very suspicious that the charges were dropped against old Artem, because it was real dramatic when it all happened. It was real dramatic when all this stuff went down. Got to get comfortable. So they dropped their dual restraining orders just a few days before they got divorced, before the divorce was filed. She was divorcing him. Now, Entertainment Now is going to talk about, says restraining orders dropped. The real reason Nikki and Artem are leaving domestic violence case in the past. It says, according to TMZ, online jail records indicate authorities booked, I can't say that last name, so I'm just going to say Artem, on a charge of felony domestic violence. On November 20th, Page 6 reported that, according to Garcia's representative, she and Artem are putting all legal battles behind them. Page 6 shared the statement they received from Garcia's rep. Nikki and Artem have settled their divorce and will not be going to court. Both parties decided to drop the domestic restraining orders against each other in an effort to move on with their lives and effectively co-parent their son. Nikki's number one priority has always been her son and privacy on the matter. She is thankful for all the love and support she has received during this difficult time. Yeah, why did the case get dropped? He was in jail. Nobody is telling me why the case was dropped. So I will have to fill in the blanks and suggest that he wasn't the one that had done anything. That it was actually her. I mean, that would be the only reason they wouldn't say it, right? That would be the only thing you could think of, huh? So she said, "Oh, it didn't got nothing to do with our incident." Yeah, it was a hell of an incident. If I remember correctly, she was throwing her shoes at this guy, and now she's got to pay him 200,000 racks. Jesus. Back to the video. Oh, I forgot I cut the video off. I got to start over.
The court before me. The divorce has nothing to do with what happened, the incident, any of that. Divorce.
It absolutely does. Absolutely does. Everything that happened in the relationship is what led to divorce. Everything, every argument has something to do with it. Every fight has something to do with it. It's like building a snowman, you know? One snowflake at a time. You lead you towards divorce or ended up in a Benoit situation.
This is divorce. Divorce has to deal with the paper, the contract you signed during marriage, the day of marriage, at the court before marriage, whatever.
Shut up.
So our settlement is what everyone saw. Yes, I had to give him $200,000. That's what happens when you're the breadwinner. The breadwinner. And
so she calling him a broke. You're brokey. You broke bitch. I'm gonna give you $200,000 to get out of my hair. You broke bitch. You're the breadwinner. You're broke. Artem is broke. Nah. Now she just makes more money than him because she has multiple streams of income. You know, she was on reality TV shows. She was on WWE for years. They probably still give her a Legends contract or something like that. She probably still makes a ton of money. Well, I think he was on Dancing with the Stars, but I don't know if he'd done anything else.
Also, there's a lot of different things that happen to make that number. I got a steal. I'm not gonna lie, which is crazy to say. And you know, the one thing is our judge. We did.
She said she got a steal. They got me for $200,000, but it could have been more. So she's like, yeah, I got more money. That 200,000, that's small paper. How rich are the Bella twins anyway? And who is responsible outside of Vince McMahon for making these women rich? Because they're seemingly famous for nothing. But there's absolutely no surprise that she wants to wrestle again. She needs it. She took a $200,000 hit.
Private mediation said at the end of it, this is the first time in all the years I've done this where a woman had to pay a man. And the judge said, you should be so damn proud that you built such an empire that someone wants a piece of it. Now, let me tell you the learning lesson. If you ever get married again, promise me you will make them sign a prenup. And I was like, I promise. They go, hard lesson to learn today because of the money you're going to have to pay out, but be damn proud of yourself. And it was nice to hear that.
Oh, feminism. Okay, yeah, I got to do this to you, but I'm going to stroke your ego while I do it. Right? Men get destroyed by child support, and they get absolutely reamed by judges. They even have to pay money that they do not have. Like, there was a crazy story, like a lot of these football players and stuff, they have to pay child support for money that they do not, they set all of that stuff based off their income. But, if you're a football player or whatever, all that money is front loaded. So if you're 2-3 years into retirement, you're not going to just jump back into the league and make that kind of money anymore. Sometimes they will not adjust their child support or alimony or anything because they made that money at some time. And say, well, I think one of the famous quotes is, what you have to pay is not based on your ability to pay, or something like that. But when it comes to her, she's like, Oh, the judge told me I built such an empire that somebody wants a piece of it. Should have made him sign a prenup. Oof. Big money Bella here.
I was, even though it hurts because I broke my neck for that money. That money, all that is my hard-earned money. Right. And can I just say,
I broke my neck for that money. That's real. Because it's true. She did break her neck for that money. She did. Now think about all these dudes who have torn their ACL, blown out ligaments in their knees, injured their back, and had to split that money with women. Look at Ric Flair, for God's sake. Let's keep it wrestling. Let's not even go into basketball. Ric Flair was in a plane accident in 1975 and broke his back. He's been married half a dozen times. He's taken so many bumps on a broken back, and not one judge ever felt any bit of sympathy for him. He's been getting raked over the coals every single time. Every time. It was wrong then, it's wrong now. She literally did break her neck for that money. The idea that you have to pay another person, and guess what? She wasn't even with him when she broke her neck. He wasn't with her when she was in the arenas making that money. So she is 100%. If she was screaming and yelling and hollering about it, she would be 100% justified. This is one of the few times and you usually only see it with Hollywood chicks who end up having to pay men. I think Halle Berry had to pay men too. Absolutely absurd. Absurd.
Yourself. And it was nice to hear that. And I was, even though it hurts because I broke my neck for that money. That money, all that is my hard-earned money. Right. And can I just say a side note, just on the prenup thing? I told Nicole many times, he needs to sign it. He needs to sign it. Please annul. Please annul. Everyone, I don't care. Everyone knows I'm the bad guy. And
say what? What do you mean? See, I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't know the Bella twins like this. I don't know. This is just right up my alley, this story right here. I ain't watched Total Divas. I ain't watched Total Bellas. If it wasn't for this video right here, I wouldn't even be talking about this subject. But this video just happened to stumble across my timeline, and so here it is. But I don't know. I'm guessing Bree didn't like this guy. She wasn't a fan. You want to know what was so funny? I want to go back to Nikki for a second. She wasn't she on her podcast talking about seeing John Cena for the first time recently? Like, I think they ran into each other backstage or something like that. And she was on her podcast talking about people asking her, was it weird? Like, it shouldn't be weird. They haven't been together in years. He's married. And at the time, she was married. At least I think so. Or she had maybe just gotten a divorce. It shouldn't have been weird at all. I mean, it might be awkward, a little bit. Cena's significantly older. 99% more bald than he was before. And but he ain't the gigantic muscular John Cena that you're used to. But sheesh, this is problematic. I don't know what's Bree's problem. What's her problem?
Believed in such a fairy tale, and you're like, you let it go because you loved him. So I will say that, like, because people always try to make the worst of evils and the villains, and it's just so crazy. When, just coming from a sister point, a lot of you who listen, you guys have best friends, sisters, family members, and there's us who like are the audience watching and being like, do this, come on, please. And the other one, people easily get lost in love. So it's kind of how, like, when I see all the comments and all that, I'm like, you don't even know where this all actually stemmed from when you're looking at the settlement.
Who cares? That's your sister. Of course you're gonna have her back. Nobody want to hear that. Nobody want to hear that. Get real. Phil's been having a problem here. He's got a big problem with what's going on here. And he's got two comments I want to talk about. WG Phil says, Brock gets shadowed, mention a piss video by his boss side piece, gets unpersoned and removed from WWE history. Nikki gets to abuse her husband, gets a prime spot on the Rumble and highlighted on Raw. That's why I've been looking to see what happened here. Because last I checked, she was threw her shoes at him and he got arrested. That's what I remember. I don't remember him doing anything to her. Phil's second comment is, on God, fuck WWE. Firing Odyssey Jones when he was the victim. But since Nikki is a female, she gets to beat her husband in a Rumble spot. If I remember correctly, Drew McIntyre also got fired when he was attacked by Taryn Terrell in the hotel. I think Rhino, same thing. I think him and his wife tore up a hotel room. She threw a lamp at him or something like that, and he ended up getting fired. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. All right. I want to make sure I'm right that she threw her shoes at him. I want to make sure that that's correct. Yeah, she did throw her shoes at him. It's not funny, but it's funny as hell. All right, so it's from August the 30th, 2024. Artem says in 911 call, wife Nikki Bella threw shoes at him. Yep, and she got back into WWE, and yep, she got to throw shoes and act a fool, and it's over now, brother. I want to double check this Taryn Terrell story, because she went to TNA, and I know they had a domestic incident that ended up with her getting arrested. Yep, Taryn Terrell attacked him, if I remember correctly. Yeah, here it is, August 13th, 2010. Tiffany, real name Taryn Terrell, was arrested at 8 a.m. on Sunday, August the 8th, at a hotel in West LA. She was charged with a misdemeanor, believed to be assault, although not confirmed, against her husband, WWE superstar Drew McIntyre. It says the police were called to a hotel following a domestic disturbance between the two. Terrell was taken into custody and booked into Van Nuys Valley Jail with $20,000 bail and was released at 4:55 the same day. No charges against McIntyre. Yeah, she got fired, and I believe he did too. And wait, she was a Playboy bunny? Is that real? Apparently, she got cleared of domestic violence charges, but come on, get real. What did you think was going to happen? But she got arrested for attacking him. I think Rhino, I'm going to look up the Rhino case too. Rhino, domestic violence, because I believe he also got attacked by his wife. WWE. I don't know what the hell Rhino's real name is, because I'm trying to look it up, but I don't see it. I know it had something to do with a lamp. Was it Taryn Terrell that threw the lamp? Oh, Adam Rose was arrested for domestic violence. That's not good. That's not good, buddy. Yeah. So at least Drew McIntyre was 100% correct. He's a big guy too. And that's sad. That's really sad. I think she said she was having an alcohol problem at the time. Taryn Terrell. You said Drew wasn't fired, but he got severely de-pushed in 2011. That led to his firing in 2014. Okay, that's fair enough. Terrence Guerin. Let's see. WWE device. Terrence. I don't think I ever knew his real name. Terrence Guerin. Wait, he ran for Congress in Michigan? He went for the House? I put his name in. Michigan Republican House nominee wins WWE Tag Team Championship. What the hell is this? Terrence Guido Guerin knows how to win in professional wrestling. And this November, he's looking for another win. Guerin, or Rhino, won the Republican primary for Michigan's 15th House District seat last month. As of Sunday night, he is also the first ever WWE Smackdown Tag Team Championship. That's incorrect, but okay. They don't know nothing about wrestling. I didn't know he was running for a political office. This was almost 10 years ago. Sheesh. That's insane. Yeah. That's nuts. You learn something new every day. I'll be damned. Let's not forget Odyssey got fired a month later after Artem's arrest. Yeah, they created a whole that woman created an entire Twitter account dedicated to destroying the good name of Odyssey Jones. And he ended up getting fired. You said Rhino mentioned it on TV? I don't remember that. You think I pay attention to Rhino? Get off my back, please. Matt Hardy and Rebby tore up a hotel room too, and Rebby was the aggressor. Not surprising. Yeah, she's Latino, so she absolutely was the aggressor. It seems like every Latin woman except Selma Hayek could just be losing their goddamn mind. Who knows? She might be crazy too. Man, I don't remember this at all. I don't remember this Rhino thing at all, brother. Jesus H. Christ. Sheesh. NL says, I think it was at Royal Rumble. He went up to a group of female superstars and she was there and he shook all their hands and some of the girls made a big deal out of it. Oh, yeah, you're talking about John Cena and Nikki Bella. Yeah. Whole ordeal. Matt Hardy has a thing for trashy Latinas. He got a thing for trashy women, period. I mean, just. NL says, with Artem, though, he was previously accused of shoving and kicking a dance partner back in 2015. And other dance partners have accused him of different things, too. Oh, so he's just a regular dickhead, huh? Nikki is half Latina. You know, them chicks are a little crazy. Latinas, no. If they got one drop of Latin blood, they're full psychotic all the time. Just might as well just put them on pills because they're out of it. It's over. It's over. Selma Hayek, it would be worth it. she's like 55. Absolutely true. Why are people calling Darby Allin a rapist on Twitter? Well, because he was accused of rape like 5 or 6 years ago. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. I don't know if it's relevant at all, but I don't know what the big deal is. But yeah, we'd already been down that road with Darby Allin being accused of rape. That's nothing new. But let's talk about this this Brian Alvarez piece. Him and Dave Meltzer talking about Will Ospreay and Hangman Page. You know, Meltzer loves him some Will Ospreay. Ooh, buddy. He loves him some Will Ospreay.
And it opened up with a Hangman and Will Ospreay face to face, and these two guys were. This was fantastic. Awesome. This is what Cena and Cody Rhodes should have been, and never,
hit that level. With Cody Rhodes and Cena, they're so polished and practiced and very professional. It's not a knock on them, but they're not real at all. You know, even when they throw real barbs out, they were never real. I never got the feeling of real. With Will Ospreay, every word he said, the way he said it with the conviction he said it, I got the feeling that it was real. I mean, Hangman had to do his act of depression and everything like that, and it was great. It was one of maybe Hangman's best promo ever. But these guys were, I mean, it was absolutely spectacular.
The other thing that's different from the John Cena deal is, you know, he's a heel, and so he's just got because of the fans thing. We at least had two baby faces here, so there was nothing except putting over the fans when they talked about him.
And the other thing is they made clear that this is the main event of the show. You know, when this promo was over,
who cares? Let's talk about this. All right. I wasn't a big fan of the Cena and Cody promo segments because of Cena's performance. I said before that Cena sounds and feels like he is acting. He doesn't feel like he's John Cena, who is now a bad guy. He feels like he's acting. So I'm not a big fan of those promo segments. The idea that what is going on outside? All right. Anyway, got to ignore that. Anyway, the idea that this felt real, that's unreality. All right. I'm just not going to let him sit there and lie. Was it a better segment? Probably. It was a more focused segment. But Cena's performance, I think, is what dragged down the Cena and Cody Rhodes segment. And I think he's forced to be a heel. You know, this is what all these nerds wanted, and now it's happening, and it's been underwhelming. But I will say, I don't think Will Ospreay is particularly good in that promo. I don't like Will Ospreay promos. I don't like that accent he's got. Hangman's not too bad, though. Well, at least in that promo, he wasn't too bad. He wasn't too bad. You work with Latinas, man. I deal with Latinas all the time, man. Let me tell you. There's something in the beans and in the rice. I shouldn't say stuff like that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Crazy people. Absolutely crazy people. Volker King says, I cannot take the Ram Ranch Cowboy seriously, much less believe he's real. I still think you should force him to change his mustache. Shave his mustache.
And
there was I think a longer version of this quote. They were also arguing about something else too. Meltzer said what? Did I save it? I believe I did, but I don't know. I can't find it yet. But they had a long argument. Oh yeah, here it is, right here. The Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer argument about Solo Sikoa. So we're gonna. This is what I actually plan to listen to. Stone Mexican guy says, as an official Mexican, I hereby give you the Mexican pass and say as many stereotypical Latino things as you wish. This card for good for 3 years. Enjoy it. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I will be reapplying for my card, unlike all the other Mexicans who come into my country illegally. I will actually get this card renewed in 3 years.
By the way, you mentioned Solo Sikoa being protected. You do realize the last time he's won a match on TV was...
But he's never wrestles on TV.
December.
But he never wrestles on TV. He's being protected.
He wrestles on pay-per-view. And
he hasn't wrestled hardly at all.
He has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8...
Alvarez is terrible. He's sitting there being very pedantic about this thing.
9. He's wrestled 11 TV matches, and he's won 0 until this past match.
Well, there you go. Then they're trying to get him ready for. Jacob.
He's got no credibility, dude. He always loses. Always.
Yes.
He's always beaten.
I agree with this though. I think that Solo is a loser. Ever since January, ever since he lost to Roman, he's seemingly done nothing but lose. And it's not good. It ain't good. I don't know what Dave is trying to get, what he's trying to get at here.
You know that wins and losses mean nothing in WWE.
No, they do mean something. That's why Jacob Fatu has never been beaten. They've never beaten the guy.
And that's why they're feuding the two of them. They're feuding the two of them. So
I know. I'm wondering why they're feuding them. Like, give Solo something.
Well, they are. Well, I guess they're going to start to do that now. But the point is like the way that they book title match, they have people lose 10, 15 times in a row, and they'll give them a title match
for weeks. But for the top guys, they don't beat them.
That's true. It's true. They don't beat top guys a lot. But it is also true that wins and losses do not matter in WWE. It has never mattered. Seth Rollins, he went on a stretch there where he didn't win a damn thing, and he never left the main event. Wins and losses. Remember when they first started pushing Seth Rollins as a singles act? I think he got beat by Roman Reigns cleaning his whistle on an episode of Monday Night Raw in a match that seemed to be a throwaway. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, well, this guy's dead, clearly, because it seemed like this was after the Shield broke up, too. And it wasn't long after the Shield broke up. And I was thinking to myself, it felt like they were going to build that match for a pay-per-view. And then they just decided, we're going to throw it away on Raw, and then we're just going to have Seth lose. And then they did exactly that. And I was like, oh, well, that's that. I think they did the same thing with Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. They had Bray Wyatt lose and that was going to begin there. I think it started coming out that Bray Wyatt was going to be the Joker to Roman Reigns as Batman or Superman or whatever the fuck they said. It was in the dirt sheets. I don't expect them to be correct. And Bray Wyatt had lost this match, and then they began the anyone but Roman storyline. Anyone but you. It's because Bray just lost clean as hell on Raw. Like, it happens that sometimes guys eat a bunch of pins and they still are top guys. It happens. WWE is weird like that. Sometimes you eat pins for years, and then all of a sudden you're a top guy. Sometimes it works that way. I don't know how it works, but sometimes it works. So they're both right here for some strange reason.
There's a reason that Jacob Fatu has never been beaten.
Well, yeah, because they're super protecting Jacob.
Yes, exactly.
But Solo is the guy who's going to feud with him for next. But they don't care. They don't care.
Well, they should. If you want people to care about it, they didn't care about that ladder match.
They
didn't care about Solo winning, except they were mad because they didn't have Phoenix or like two guys who can do ladder matches.
But the point, they've taught how many times? I mean, they've taught the fans that wins and losses don't matter. The fans don't care.
I gotta tell you this. I'm actually on Team Dave on this one. Alvarez is trying to push a traditional wrestling thing where if a guy loses, that means he's less important than the other guy. But Meltzer is correct that the audience we have already accepted the fact that in WWE people eat pins. And we don't know why. Sometimes the eating the pin don't even make sense. It's just something that happens. And they do it to top guys all the time. Like, everybody is still wounded about what happened to Bianca Belair at SummerSlam when she got beat by Becky Lynch in like 22 seconds or something like that. I'm telling you, after I saw the Great Khali pin the Undertaker, you're gonna have to try very hard in order to get me all upset about this stuff. And I seen it when Bryan Danielson got kicked in the face at WrestleMania, and the internet had absolute conniption. I've seen it again and again when the Fiend got beat by Bill Goldberg. People 100% of the time. I was even on the train when the Fiend lost, so I thought that was pretty weird. But ultimately in WWE, it doesn't matter. As long as it's all in the service of the story. That's really how it is. If you put it in context and matches should have their own context, which means they should lead to something or be the outcome of something. And all of the situations that I mentioned, it was leading to something else. You know, Bianca got squashed by Becky, but that was the beginning of Becky's heel turn, and it led to Bianca beating Becky at WrestleMania. When the Great Khali beat The Undertaker, that was to establish the Great Khali as a main event threat, even though he was a bum, but that was the point of it. When Bryan Danielson got kicked in the face at WrestleMania, that was the beginning of the end of his storyline with AJ Lee, and it was actually what helped him get to a main event level afterwards when he lost the World Heavyweight title. When The Fiend lost, it was all about building Goldberg or reestablishing Goldberg so that he could lose the title to Roman Reigns. Now, obviously, that didn't happen because of COVID, so he had to lose the belt to Braun Strowman. But in each situation, there was a idea behind it that led to the person that, oh, well, she's a bum. She got beaten 22 seconds by Becky Lynch. That means she's nothing. Well, no, because in boxing, like in boxing or in UFC, it happens that the superior fighter, the better wrestler or whatever, loses. Like when Matt Serra beat like George St. Pierre, who the fuck thought that, oh, well, George St. Pierre is just a bum then? When Hakeem Rahman knocked out Lennox Lewis, nobody thought like, oh, Lennox Lewis is a bum. I probably thought that because I didn't like Lennox Lewis. When Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson, there's a reason why we remember Lennox Lewis, George St. Pierre, and Mike Tyson and not those other people, right? But that's sports. It's sports. Shit happens like that in sports. In wrestling, it's all about telling a story. If it's consistent and you getting beat like a drum, then maybe it's because you're a low card bum, and like that might be it. But even a guy like Dolph Ziggler, who ate tons of pins, and sometimes even got left off shows, he would still have these long runs where he mattered, and what he did was important. So you would forget that he was, a perennial loser because he always did important stuff. Or somebody like R-Truth, who is a perennial loser, but he's a comedy figure on the show and he's an important fixture. He does other things. He can further your storyline without winning a match. He could further his own career without winning a match, without even wrestling a match, really. I think R-Truth is more of a legend for what he's done in this long stretch of not wrestling than when he's ever done actively in the ring.
Wins and losses. I mean, it's obvious. You've seen how many times that they'll put a match that in theory shouldn't draw because one of the guys always loses, and it does draw. So it's like, I've been studying this. The fans, it's not a big deal.
He said, I've been studying this. He got the big book of Wins and Losses Don't Matter, written by Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
To the fans, yes, they will protect a few guys like Solo.
Yeah,
I mean, not Solo, but like Jacob. But Solo's a guy who they obviously feel that they can beat, but they still treat him like he's a top guy. I mean, he gets plenty of promo time. The key in WWE is your promo.
Okay, that was part one. They got 4 parts of this thing.
I mean, he gets plenty of promo time. The key in WWE is your promo time.
I know, but people don't care about Solo. He actually doesn't get a very good reaction. No. Jacob gets a great reaction because they can see he's special.
Yeah.
Because he never loses. And he's always the guy that has to save Solo.
But they push Solo, but Solo gets luck.
I think what Alvarez is missing here is that WWE can see Solo as a priority, but see Jacob as a bigger priority, right? So if there's the 2 of them, because Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are never around because they're always hurt, or they're just generally ineffective, of the 2 of them, one of them has to eat a pin, right? If they're in a tag team match or something like that, one of them has to eat a pin. WWE may value Solo, but they say, do we value him more than Jacob? No. So Solo is going to be the one that's going to eat the pins. I mean, that's just how it is. And the audience kind of understands that. And they kind of rock with it. You know, like, we would rather see Solo get beat because he's the one that we hate anyway. You know, but he can lose so much that he becomes irrelevant. But in the company, and this is where, again, Meltzer is right, if you keep pushing him, even if he loses, it won't matter. You know, so
TV time, and he gets a push. They
He needs to
consider him.
start getting some wins, or this ain't going to be much of a feud.
Well, he's going to lose the feud, so it doesn't matter. But the point is, especially for heels, they beat heels all the time.
I do not want to talk about 160-pound Finn Balor beating 280-pound Bobby Lashley in like 90 seconds at WrestleMania. I do not want to talk about that, especially considering that people, if you talk to them, they'll talk about how bad Vince did Finn Balor without taking that into account. That was horrific. That was traumatizing as far as I was concerned. I was traumatized by that. But it does remind me, I did enjoy the Finn Balor Bobby Lashley Intercontinental Championship feud. I did enjoy that. I did. I liked it. That's back when Lashley was running around with Leo Rush. That was very cool. I think Leo Rush is the one who lost the title for him before Lashley got beat at WrestleMania, though. That was weird. That was really weird booking, but not bad.
And so, you know, they beat heels all the time. They don't care. I mean, it's like that's just part of the deal. You know, I mean, it's, you know, this is not anything new. This has been the case in WWE for decades. They do not, you know, when they book, they're not booking long term who he's going to win and he's going to get a title shot.
Yes, they do. They always did. You just don't think that that's the case, but it does. It's always been the case. Even when things felt very random, it was always the case that there was going to be some things in the middle that were going to be random, but the things at the end are always going to be planned. You know? So there's going to be like random shit. Jinder Mahal is the WWE champion out of nowhere. What? Well, it's an experiment just to see how it goes. And I don't think anybody had it on their bingo card that he was going to make it very long with that belt. But the idea was likely for him to get the belt off Randy and to carry it to somebody else. Now, I think they had to edit that plan because of Brock. Because Brock gonna Brock. But I was pretty sure that was the plan. Because I think after that, it ended up on Danielson. Because AJ Styles beat Jinder for it. Then AJ wrestled Brock. And he was only champion for a little bit. And I think he lost it to Bryan Danielson shortly after that, right? Am I correct in that? I think they're probably going to end up going to Danielson anyway.
They'll just do whatever they want. Doesn't matter. Doesn't care.
I hate that scene. I hate that weird contact. I hate it so much.
Gotta get somebody ready for a title shot. This guy's lost a bunch of matches. We'll put him in a four-way, and he wins the four-way, and he gets the title match. And all those losses don't matter, and the people accept it.
I don't understand what the point of this argument is. Jacob Fatu is perfectly fine. Solo, was that a Money in the Bank? Was that like a Money in the Bank thing? Like, wasn't it a qualifier for Money in the Bank? I don't think that had anything to do with the U.S. title. Oh, that was the AJ title run that lasted a year? Okay, well, maybe that was the plan anyway then. Maybe he's just going to get it later.
People didn't accept it, and it didn't work. They'd stop doing it. And I'm not, you know, it's like, of course it's better if you make wins. I think it sucks that wins and losses don't matter, but they don't. They don't book. Like, and this is a perfect example. They're building this guy up for a feud with Jacob. Jacob is a top guy. They protect Jacob.
I know, but Jacob is a top guy, Dave, because he never loses.
No, he's top guy.
He's always the guy who gets the win. He's always the guy that protects Solo.
And he's super over.
I know, and if he lost all the time, it would be different.
Yeah, but so
they're protecting him.
and they protect their top guys. And my point is, they don't protect Solo.
Would you agree?
They're going in circles, but yes, I actually agree with both of them on that tip. I think they both make a solid point. It's unfortunate that they're both so stupid that they will sit there and argue about it. But it's clear that WWE does protect their top guys, but only some top guys. You know, you got to be at the tippy top in order for WWE to care so much about you. I did not know that AJ Styles was champion for a year. My memory is shot. I do remember some of that though. You think you had it for a while because he wrestled Nakamura at the next year's Mania, but he did lose it to Bryan a year later. Okay, so that makes sense then. They were going to do Nakamura and Styles, so that's why Styles won it. So there you go. Again, it makes sense in the end, because I believe Nakamura debuted before. No, Jinder was a champion when Nakamura debuted, right? And then they did the Nakamura Jinder Mahal match, which was the shits. I think they did that match twice, and it was the shits. And then they moved Nakamura out of the way, and then Jinder had the belt for a little bit longer before losing it to AJ Styles. But then they put Nakamura back on his track because Nakamura dropped John Cena on his head. He had 2 bad matches with Jinder Mahal. He had a meh match with Randy Orton. And then he got put back on the track to win the Royal Rumble. And then from there, he wrestled AJ in 2017 WrestleMania, I believe, which would have been WrestleMania 31. Was it 30 or 31? It was one or the other. And no, it wasn't 31. It was 32, I think. Yeah, I think it was 32. 2018. Okay. My time is. It was 34? That was way off. Where was that show? Where was WrestleMania 34? Because I got the New Orleans thing in my head for some reason. I got the New Orleans graphic or whatever in my head for some reason. You say you only remember this because the Mania, otherwise would have forgotten that AJ Shinsuke feud was so disappointing. They brought in all those Japanese guys to see Nakamura lose. That was great. That was excellent trolling by Vince McMahon. That was fantastic. Put Hiroshi Tanahashi up in the box. It was New Orleans. Oh, but it was a different New Orleans show. See, I knew it happened in New Orleans, but I was like, okay. The only WrestleMania I remember in New Orleans is fucking 30, man. Everything after 30 is a mishmash. I can't tell you. Okay. So what on was in New Orleans, goddammit. All right. Boca King says, and they still Nakamura the Rumble, and the Marks went to tell me that Triple H just took charge recently. I think he talked Vince into the Asuka and Nakamura thing. I do think he talks Vince into that. Like, just give him a chance. Let's see what they can do. He had an excellent match with AJ over in Japan. They're going to have a classic. And then it was mid, and Vince probably looked at him like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, boy. Oh, brother. Damn. That means they had a WrestleMania in New Orleans at 30 and 34. Huh. That's a little close together, brother. Yeah, he had both agents. I mean, the Charlotte thing clearly was because he wanted Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. And that's what people didn't get. And then he had to change that because Becky ended up getting over. Again, when you go back to wins and losses, they do matter, but they don't matter, right? Because over in WWE, the losses lead somewhere. Vince has an end game with Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. But he knows that Ronda, you can't throw her in there in the first match against Charlotte. So you let her get some experience, spend a year getting her some experience, and then she'll be ready the next year at WrestleMania. But you introduce her now, and then to establish that Charlotte is the best women's wrestler on the roster, you have her beat Asuka. And everybody's like, no, Asuka hadn't lost. I wasn't so bothered by that as much as Asuka losing to Carmella. That was fucking funny. That was funny. The meltdown behind that was humorous. That was fantastic. That's why wins and losses. Yeah, he did like Asuka, but she just wasn't in his plan at that time. And he adapted. You know, like you can look at a lot of the Vince scenarios where he will say he'll give this person a shot, but they're not in the long-term plan. He'll just come back to him later, like he did with Edge. Like he always liked Edge. He gave Edge the title, knowing that Edge was not going to be champion very long. Edge didn't like that, wanted to change it, and it wasn't going to happen because Vince had already planned on Cena and Triple H. So it didn't matter what Edge did. It was, we're going back to Cena and Triple H, but then we'll come back to you after that, and that's exactly what he did. Right? So that's really all he did was just, hey, this worked. I wasn't expecting it. I'm going to go with this, or being forced to go with it, however that works. But then eventually I'm going to go back to what I wanted to do anyway. Right? So he gave everybody the big WrestleMania 30 with Danielson being the champion and all that. And then we were back to regularly scheduled programming. Soon as Danielson got hurt, we got right back to regularly scheduled programming. Well, okay. Back where we were before. We gave you what you wanted. Kofi Kingston, same thing. We gave you what you wanted. Now we're back to where we needed to be because we got WrestleMania to do here. He also kept Bayley very strong during the Thunderdome too. Bayley got an amazing push during the Thunderdome. It was insane. Super insane Bayley push in the Thunderdome. And it actually made me a fan because I didn't like Bayley before the Thunderdome. She did a good job. JS says, I think Carmella cashed in that week, so they gave Carmella a short run until SummerSlam that kicked off the Becky getting over. Yeah, and that's when they had they rammed Asuka's head into a shark tank and beat her at that joint. That was hilarious. You say you wish we got Cena versus Edge at WrestleMania 39 or 41. Fuck Triple H for driving Edge away to become a mark. I don't think that was going to happen at 39. I think it was always going to be Austin Theory because Vince was still hanging around. But I definitely think it would have turned out better for Austin Theory in the end. The win would flatten them, I think. It would be nice if Austin Theory showed up during this John Cena run. I would like that. In order for Cena to run him down again and say he's learned nothing in these 4 or 5 years or whatever. And now that the crowd seemingly cares about Austin Theory a little bit, they were chanting for him on Raw. They should do just maybe a short segment between the two of them. Now, that's something Vince would have done because he would sometimes do those rubs and he would establish those relationships and then he would reestablish them. Like the Kurt Angle and John Cena thing, like he established that at the very beginning and then he would occasionally go back to it. This is why Cena being Kurt Angle's last opponent would have made perfect sense. Now, at that point in time, he was just fucking with Kurt Angle and decided he wasn't going to do that. But it would have made perfect sense because they had so much history. But that's how characters have history. They don't have to be involved in each other's lives week to week. You can establish that they know each other or have a rivalry or whatever, and then continuously go back to it every once in a while. Much like they do with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Like occasionally they'll go back to them being best friends. They'll go back to them being rivals, and then they'll be apart for a while. That's how you build these things without it being boring and repetitive. Like, the Judgment Day. or the NWO or something like that, where every week is the same shit. All right, I want to play this clip from Elio Helwani because Karrion Kross is looking very dapper, very debonair, and I want to see what he's got to say. What we talking about here? 4 minutes, Jesus, that's a long clip.
The amazing thing about Night 2, WrestleMania 41, that Sunday in Vegas, I think I'll remember, at least in a really positive way, 2 things. Joe Hendry's, appearance, his official, singles debut, if you will. He was on Royal Rumble and all that. And then your promo. Like, everyone had their say on should Rock been there, should Travis Scott do this, that, should Cena have won, all that. But like, as far as like the high points, if you will, on Monday, I felt like everyone was in a positive way talking about your promo and Joe Hendry. Mm-hmm. Your promo wasn't a part of WrestleMania; it was part of the post show, right, with Sam Roberts and Megan. Yep. You just said that at the beginning of all this that you feel like there's some sort of like misconception regarding it. When I'm watching it, and I've watched it like 10 times, it's pipe bomb-esque. It's CM Punk. That's the highest of praise. It was riveting. It was incredible.
It was interesting. I don't know about riveting. I don't know if I was riveted by that thing. It was a pretty good promo, and I think Karrion Kross did a good job with it. I think I've always been a fan of the guy. I was a fan of the guy when he was on the Indies, So I told you he reminds me of Sid when he was bald and everything, but he seemed to be changing a little bit. It seemed like he's becoming more surly, which is good, But I'm wondering what he's got to say here because I don't remember watching this whole clip.
Because, as you were saying, it felt like it was coming from the heart. You were referring to people by their real name. You were talking about Joe. You were talking about Logan. It felt to me like a guy who was frustrated with his spot and was lashing out. You dropped an F-bomb, which is supremely rare on any kind of WWE programming. Why do you feel like people have misconstrued what you were trying to say or where you're at?
I don't think it's a broad group of people that have misconstrued it. It's a very small group of people that feel like, it falls under complaining. It's not complaining. It's using your voice and speaking up and saying, hey, I'm here. I'm here. I want to be here. I want to give you the best of what I have, In general, I got a standing ovation when I won't drop names. I got a standing ovation when I saw everybody the following day.
Wow.
Which felt awesome. And I had no idea that was going to resonate the way it did with people. A few people even came to me in tears, saying, thank you for saying what you said. I was just being honest. I had an open criteria that day. And I told them, I said, people are going to watch this. I have something to say. And I have a feeling people are going to want to hear this. So I said it.
You said you got a lot of love. Did you get any heat?
Sort of.
It ain't really good unless you get some heat. Unless people get upset about it, what good did you do? But I'm on side with Volker King here. I don't need any more shoot interviews. Tired of the shoot shit. But it's a good way to get attention online. And that's exactly what happened. Because the perception around Karrion Kross changed immediately. Remember, Karrion Kross was the guy that the internet wrestling fans didn't like, right? He was the guy that when Adam Cole cut that promo and he said, what makes me special is they ring the bell. And now look at him. The bell been ringing, ain't never stopped ringing, and he still ain't special. I like Karrion Kross then, but they were dead. He was dead at that point in time. They didn't want to hear from Karrion Kross no more after that. It took some time for him to recover, but I think he's recovered quite nicely.
Sort of. Yeah, not everybody was thrilled about that.
Did you hear from Logan?
No.
Because I feel like if there was one person that you were kind of critiquing, it was him, that he doesn't deserve the spot.
I'll say this. I don't have a problem with Logan Paul. I think he's an amazing athlete, and I think he's doing really good work.
And a lot of people will be pissed that I'm saying that, but it's true. I don't want to BS around that. What I have a problem with is this idea within the system to reward the mainstream archetype, like Logan, with certain types of liberties and privileges that could be delegated to the people that have pretty much dedicated their entire lives and are here full time. I struggle with that. And I'm not the only one. I think it just needs to be said. Like, I have no problem.
Wait a second. Hold up now. Wait. When he said that, there was a little bit. He almost going full Dutch girl here. Anyway, wait a second. Wait a second. Let's back up for a second. Because I got Mustafa Ali vibes and I didn't like it.
Full time. I struggle with that. And I'm not the only religious that could be delegated to the people that have pretty much dedicated their entire lives and are here full time. I struggle with that. And I'm not the only one.
Yes,
I think it just needs to be said. Like, I have.
Oh my God. I remember when Mustafa Ali cried. What was that, a Raw? It was like a Raw post show. You know, when he was talking about Hulk Hogan showing up and the part-timers and all this stuff. Oh, it's that argument again. No, Karrion Kross, please don't fall into that. Please don't give into that. You got to be bigger and stronger and faster than that. You got to be smarter than this, buddy. You can't fall into the. You cannot fall into the Mustafa Ali. I can't. Ah, God. Jeez, he ain't wrong, but ugh.
No problem as a professional rep.
Because and I say he's not wrong because there is absolutely room for a Karrion Kross on the roster right now. Bro, they're promoting Akira Tozawa. You mean you can't give Karrion Kross 4 minutes to squash somebody, to do a cool entrance, hit a couple of big moves, get a pin, and threaten the Intercontinental Championship or something like that, and you don't got time for that? We got time for fucking Akira Tozawa? Oh, we got time for Akira Tozawa, but we don't got time for get out of here, man. So I think it's misplaced. Logan Paul makes the most of what he does. You can say he shouldn't be there. All right, fair. I'm saying Tozawa shouldn't be there. Some people will say Bird Girl shouldn't be there. There's a lot of people who don't like the Bird Lady. All right. I'm not one of the people who dislikes the Bird Lady. I find her rather charming. But I also just understand she's not going to be a superstar. She's going to be a work rater. She may be at this level where she is right now forevermore. But I like Karrion Kross. I wish he was featured more. But this was right around the time they started getting rid of people, and it seemed like he was volunteering to get fired. That's kind of what it felt like to me.
With anyone coming in and being on our show and doing anything, just as long as I get to hit them with the steel chair as they walk in. If I can hit them with the chair, then they can come in and do whatever they want. After that, it's fine. But in all seriousness, we, the collective, the talent, the wrestlers, the performers, we can go viral too. I don't want there to be this idea, this dependency that other people from other lanes are the only ones that can do that. We can too. And that's why I say, it didn't come from really a disgruntled place. It came from a place of passion. I want to show people what they want to see. I know what they want to see. And I proved that. That was the whole point. That's where that comes from. And those are my thoughts on him. I really hope to God Jay winds up cheating in that match with him, because if that guy winds up winning the world title, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. He knows.
Okay. It seems like he's angling for a match with Logan Paul, and that seemed to be what they will do, because that's cheap and it's lazy. What I would do was put him in the ring with Jey Uso. That's what I would do. But I like Karrion Kross, and I'm up and down on Jey Uso. I think that if you do with Jey Uso what they did with Roman and basically just have Scarlett put the clock on him, it'll be great. TikTok, Jay. But you would have to, Triple H would have to surrender his obsession with Gunther. He would have to surrender his obsession with Seth Rollins. And he's not going to do it. You know, it's not going to work. I personally would pivot. I would put Gunther with Ludwig Kaiser and put him in the tag team division. Let him run the tag team division for a while. Jey Uso is the world champion. I would probably move Karrion Kross into that top spot there against him. Seth Rollins is going to be dealing with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. He don't need the title. He don't even need to be in the title picture, really. So you have a spot for a top heel, and this guy is auditioning for it. So why wouldn't you just put him in that spot? Sir John Legion says, I too was under the impression that Karrion Kross is okay or would have been content with being released. I think that when the releases are coming, you figure, fuck it. You know, like it's gonna happen, whether it's gonna happen or not. The thing is, Shotzi did the same thing. She said that she put out that video of her with her hair down and everything before they had told her that her contract was not going to be renewed. So she had a feeling that she was going to be done before they told her she was done. And I'm pretty sure he had that feeling too. I'm pretty sure he got that feeling too. And I think it's a huge missed opportunity because you are starved for a main event heel. And Karrion Kross isn't somebody who's been on TV losing a lot. I think back when they were doing the Final Testament, he was losing a lot, but he hasn't been on TV losing a lot recently. So you could use him as a top heel. If you're not going to use Rusev, who is probably a natural for that position, and you can still have Rusev and Karrion Kross in that position. I read recently that they're going to do Rusev and Sheamus. Okay, I guess I don't have nothing against that, but I would put Karrion Kross in that position, and I don't think you will lose money in doing so. Ike Don says Seth Rollins said the same thing about Logan Paul to Ariel Helwani. He didn't want people to take the Logan Paul route into wrestling. I don't understand, man. Everybody seems to have I get it. It's a closed business. Everybody has a problem with the closed, but the business is open. Y'all doing shoot interviews, man. You know? You can't do this. Let's see. Said my girl Scarlett Bordeaux can't get any shine on Raw or SmackDown, yet WWE decided to make her a t-shirt last year. She gets less ring time than Maxine. I think Maxine has had more matches than Scarlett in WWE. And look, I don't even think Scarlett needs to wrestle. I don't think it's even a necessity for her to wrestle. But she can, and she's been trained to. So I don't see why you wouldn't. You need women in that division anyway. You need women in that division, so I don't see why you wouldn't use her. Ike Dedon said you probably answered this earlier, but accent turning your weight in their promos. If so, who else besides Osprey? Sometimes the way they speak is not interesting. You know, but Osprey has a terrible accent. I can't stand it. I'm kind of getting that way with Miles Bourne, but even though he's deaf, I mean, it can't be helped. But the way he talks is just so weird. It's just it's weird for him to be doing long promo segments. It's very strange. It's very strange. But I'm not at the point yet where I'm sick of Miles Bourne. But I am tired of Will Ospreay. I can't understand some of the words he's saying out of his mouth. I just can't understand some of his promos. But the British guys, I really don't like these British guys. I don't like their accents. Ike the Don says he didn't even think about Austin Theory on the John Cena tour. I don't think they'll do it because they probably don't want to remind people of that. But why can't I see the? Why can't I see the? I can't see the comments. They won't move this damn thing off the screen. What is this? Microphone check 1 2. What is this? The 5-foot assassin with the roughneck business. Oh. Okay, so let's do a couple more things and then we'll get out of here. So Queen of the Ring, they're once again trying to use WWE to promote their movie. They got some kind of training video of Charlotte and the star of the film, whose name I forget. Her name is Emily. It says the incredible Charlotte Flair training with our lead Emily at OVW in the days leading up to the start of filming. WWE Studios had submitted her for the movie, and she was originally cast as June Byers. But we were told Vince McMahon then personally pulled her out because we were a small independent film, not a major studio release. Charlotte played a real part in training Emily for her role, and we are forever grateful for her involvement. Luckily, Kaylee Camille Latimer was Kaylee? Kaylee? Oh, I'm not surprised. She's a white woman. Oh, she's a white woman. Of course, her name is Kaylee. Jesus Christ. Kaylee Camille Latimer was available last minute and took on the role of June, delivering a stellar performance. It was her first time acting, and she did all her own stunts. She's a pro wrestler. Of course, she did her own stunts. Had Kaylee not stepped up when and how she did, who knows what would have happened? She saved the day, and we love her so much. Truly a superstar. We will share more behind the scenes soon. They're saying Vince McMahon pulled Charlotte from the movie and likely Liv Morgan as well because this was an independent movie and not a major studio release. Okay. Okie dokie. What are we supposed to do with this information, sir? I've already watched the movie. I found the movie wanting in certain elements. I did a review of that movie, by the way. I think everybody should go and watch my review at the very least. And if you can find the movie and you're interested in wrestling history, you should watch some of it. You know, I don't know if you're gonna get through the whole thing, but because some of the language is pretty bad. But you know, you're gonna have to try pretty hard to get through there. Sir John Legion says, agreed, Scarlett doesn't need to wrestle, but she's more than capable. She's an indie girl just like Kross. I followed her on the indie scene for years. She's solid and better than half the roster. I saw her in TNA, and I saw her when she was wrestling in AAA. So I know she has the chops. But I think she absolutely has a killer look. And she has the kind of look they would actually try to get away from today, which is sad. Because Vince would have, he did get a chance to see Scarlett, but I don't think he probably saw her wrestle. But if he'd hung around long enough, Scarlett would probably be wrestling Mandy Rose for the world title at WrestleMania or some shit. I don't think he would have done the white cotton panties kind of gimmick, but it would have been funny to see that. Just Humble, it says, is it better than the wrestler with Mickey Rourke? No. Iron Claw isn't better than that either. The wrestler starring Mickey Rourke was actually pretty good. It's a legit wrestling movie. All wrestling movies are essentially downers for the most part. But I would say that Queen of the Ring is probably on par with the Iron Claw movie. And so if you liked Iron Claw, you probably would like that too. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you about this. I can't give it a ringing endorsement. The movie is 2 hours, bro. I can't give it a ringing endorsement. There's a whole lot going on in that thing. You might not like it. He says Scarlett is Sable 2.0. Well, she can wrestle better than Sable. Sable was shit. Is it better than Iron Claw? I think it's equal to Iron Claw. I think Iron Claw might be a little bit better. So, one of our last maybe 2 stories, Scorpio Sky. He's still around. He's still alive. He says, quote, wait, what am I talking about, quote? The headline is Scorpio Sky thinks someone in AEW had issues with what he said in an interview, says he's healthy and wants to compete. He said he was on a nosedive. He was on a nosedive. I'm having a Joe Biden moment. He was on a podcast and he says, quote, my career has sure taken a nosedive, hasn't it? Anyone that has followed me obviously knows that things have been a little different over the last couple of years. And he says that some people may have had some issues with things he said on Chris Van Vliet. He says, I love that show. I'm guessing he means the Chris Van Vliet show. To be honest with you, I didn't lie when I was on that show, but I definitely went out of my way to not make the company look bad. I really obviously wanted to preserve a relationship that had been built over a number of years. I didn't want to say anything that would poison that relationship. Come to find out, someone there still maybe has a few issues with some of the things I may have said. Now I'm like, screw it. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want now. Oh. So what do you have to say, sir? He said, it's something that has been on my mind. I don't think about it too much, but sometimes I do wonder. What is the perspective? Do people think I'm not profiled because I suck and I don't have it anymore? I'm hurt. Do they think there's bad blood? The reality is, I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's bad blood or not. I know I'm healthy and I've been healthy for a long time and I've been wanting to compete. It's just been one of those things where what can you do? You only have so much to say. You have this much say. I guess you mean just very little say. You do what you can. You can forget it, brother. You're done. You're cooked, Scorpio Sky. He's getting the Ricky Starks treatment. You're looking at a guy who's on his way to TNA. I don't know what he said in that. Let's look up what Scorpio Sky may have said in this Chris Van Vliet interview that perhaps have upset people. Let's see what he said. Because I don't remember him saying anything that Van Vliet. I don't know what. Okay. So he did a sit down in July of 2024. That's insane. Look how it's almost been a year, bro. It's almost been a year. Let's see what he's got to say.
You see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh no, I gotta play the whole video. That's an hour. Forget that one, cuz. I ain't doing that. SES Scoops got some kind of hopefully. All right, so it says on his AEW hiatus, he said, I did get hurt about 2 years ago, but I was okay within like a couple of weeks. But the problem is when you fall out of rotation, we have so much talent, it's hard to get back into rotation. AR Fox is still in rotation. He's never fallen out of rotation. I can't believe they keep AR Fox around. I mean, I guess that's a favorite of Swerve, but Jesus Christ. He's still working collisions and everything, man. I don't. Well, he said he's been mostly healthy. I don't see anything that's problematic here. What's the problem? I think it's just an issue of him not being important. He's one of the day one guys, and that was 5 years ago. 5 years, shit changes. It's not like, the streets is clamoring for Scorpio Sky anyway. I don't think there's a bunch of people out there looking for him and expecting him. All right, we're going to close with WrestleMania leaving New Orleans. Just it seemed like I thought they announced it because it was a contract was signed, but apparently there was no contract. They just announced that WrestleMania is going to be in New Orleans. And then out of nowhere today, they said, well, nope, we're not going to do New Orleans. So now everybody's saying, what's about to happen? They said a major bid has come through. There's some conversation about it going back to Las Vegas, which I don't like. And it only proves that Nick Khan is obsessed with Las Vegas. And Nick Khan is he's going to try to, through the sheer willpower and political acumen, make Las Vegas a sports town. He's trying to make that a sports town so badly. But I'm thinking that we're probably going to end up with this joint getting sent to Saudi Arabia. That's what I'm at with it. I'm thinking it's going to go to Saudi. Otherwise, they would not have pulled to they not would have. What is this? 44-year-old rapper Remy Ma begs for her sex tape to be released. What the fuck? Can I have a normal life, please? Do I need this kind of stuff in my day? No, I don't, actually. Nobody wants to see goddamn Remy Ma sex tape. She fine, but no, I don't need to see that. Sir John Legion said the wrestler was crazy good, depressing, but yeah, it's a Darren Aronofsky film. I knew what I was in for, but great movie nonetheless. I think I like Iron Claw better. Hence why I said 2.0. I like the wrestler. Legitimate. It's a very. Do I still need the Kenny video? Yes. I forgot to look for it actually. I forgot to look for that. I actually forgot. Because I wanted to hear him talk about this. This is actually pretty stupid. And it goes to show that he spent a whole lot of time in Japan and learned nothing. You could take the Canadian out of Canada, but you can't change the mentality. Don't forget the Dark Side of the Ring Daphne episode. I didn't forget. I have the I haven't recorded the audio yet, but I've already done the research. This is going to be a pretty simple episode. What is this?
Please. All right? That's right. First of all, whoever you are, whatever your name is, don't fucking fuck yourself. All right? Just please. Just do it. Enough of it. Stop it.
That's not the video. I thought that was the video. It's not, though. I don't know what I don't remember what he was wearing. I don't know what's going on. Dude, oh, here it is.
What's the deal with Rossy fat shaming his current champion? Yeah, that's very odd. What's the deal with Rossy fat shaming his current champion? Yeah, that's very odd.
It's not actually. It's not actually. It's not odd. This is a 2-minute video, and I'm like 7 seconds into it, and it's already no. It's Japan. They fat shame people in Japan. They shame people into losing weight in Japan. That's what they do. There's been plenty of Europeans and blacks and whites and whatever. They go over to Japan and they get called fat. It's the first time they've ever been attacked for being fat in public. They get called fat by strangers. It's Japan. That's how Japan is. How did he spend so much time in Japan without realizing this is how Japan is? They don't necessarily support the idea of being fat in Japan. He looks disgusted.
Funny thing is I remember comments that I had made on this chat, and maybe I had said too much. And people attacked me instantly. How dare I say anything bad about Rossy? I'm lying. I'm a liar. What would I know? If I know something, maybe I should just say what it is, right, flat out, because if I don't say it, then I'm just as guilty, or it doesn't work that way. And if you think it works that way, you don't know how life works. Someone like Rossy does a good job of revealing himself to the world on his own. And soon enough, whether he goes full mask off on his own, will start talking, the writing will be on the wall. And I don't want to be caught up in this. Like I'm doing my own thing. I don't want to be like he's got. I remember it's funny because like as soon as I had said anything, I didn't even allude to anything necessarily. But
oh God,
what happened?
Get it out.
Is his buddy in the industry, Fumi Saito, came to his rescue, had some disparaging remarks towards me, and it's just It became this entire thing that I didn't want it to become.
Okay, so what was the point then? What was the point? I don't get this. Even sumo wrestlers, you have to maintain a certain weight. It's the linebacker problem. If you can be a fat guy sumo wrestler, but you still need to be athletic. You know, like I don't know how long this Miyu Yamashita girl has been around. But if she wasn't that chunky when he first met her, he probably figured, okay, she's gaining weight. I mean, there is a real bizarre issue that we have when people start talking about women in weight. You're fat shaming. So what? That's this guy's job. When you talk about ballerinas and they're weighing the ballerinas, it's somebody's job somewhere to lift this woman up. You know, the same thing with cheerleaders to a degree. If somebody's going to be doing some kind of cheer and they got to pick you up, how much you weigh matters. This is wrestling, and most of these women do not have the upper body strength to be picking up big, heavy women. You know? Oh, they should just jump into the suplex. Yeah, for sure. just jump into the German suplex so you could break your own neck. Which, of course, that's how they do it anyway, in order to be safe, but still. It's Japanese culture for starters. Secondly, it's athletics. You know? There's certain people have certain body types, sure. But that shouldn't prevent them from trying to be physically their peak. And I still don't know what Rossy said about this girl. Maybe I need to go on and figure out what he said. I'm pretty sure he doesn't call her a fat bitch or something like that. Wait a minute. How did we end up here? Wait a second. Okay, so it says the first anniversary tournament of Marigold will be held at Yoyogi National Gymnasium number 2 on May 24th. Utami Hayashita, who holds the world championship, will fight Mirai. Rossy Ogawa, the representative, has some complaints about Hayashita's current situation. So Rossy said the match was good, but she should tone up a bit more. Utami has already blossomed once in stardom, hasn't she? I think she has a sense of mission for the organization, but it would be difficult to make her blossom a second time. Personally, I want to see her show a more toned body as a wrestler. It's not like the Showa era, so I'm not saying that just because she's a pro wrestler, she should drink and eat a lot, but I don't approve of a fat wrestler. I don't approve of a fat wrestler. And somebody posted a picture of her, and she's not super fat. She's not like, Bull Nakano, or she ain't Bertha Faye or anything like that. But she probably a little chunky for a Japanese woman. When you see how these Japanese women are like literally 86 pounds, then she probably is chunky compared to them. But she ain't like no big old fat girl. He said he don't approve of a fat wrestler. That's fucking hilarious. That's hilarious. I don't approve of a fat wrestler. Jesus Christ, man. That's great. That's hilarious. Yeah, she could probably tone up a little bit more. He's the boss. If you want to pay her to do whatever it is she does, go for it. But yeah, that was kind of brutal. I'm not even gonna hold you up. He ain't call her a fat bitch or anything like that. But He said he don't approve of a fat wrestler. Gozu said she's probably bulking before she does her cut. He says she blossomed once. It'll be difficult to make her blossom again. She's a fat wrestler. I don't approve of a fat wrestler. That's amazing. I think that's hilarious, bro. But yeah, it's a little bit more harsh than I thought it was going to be. I'm not even going to lie. It was a little harsher than I thought it was going to be. And see, the thing is, they don't want this stuff to be said in public. They want you to keep it to yourself that you think she's fat or whatever. No, I don't think the girl's fat personally. I saw her at Bloodsport. I've seen her work some GCW shows. I just saw her on AEW. I don't think she's fat. But she is probably bigger than the average Japanese girl, especially in the cheeks. She's very chunky in the cheeks. She got chipmunk cheeks. But Kenny Omega is just saying, like, he's a terrible person. It's like, look, it's Japan, man. They don't play that fat shit in Japan. They don't like it. You know, there's no such thing as body shaming. They try to keep each other healthy over there. They eat tons of rice and don't gain a pound. So it's probably her doing all these American trips. She's eating Burger King and everything. I'm kidding, of course. All right, man. I guess we can wrap this thing up. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I'm going to create a queue for questions for next week, and we'll get into that. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you guys later.